simply just not being able to click heads. With that being said, though, let's take a look at the bracket to see what exactly is going to be transpiring and what has come through. Earlier, we saw ENCE being destroyed by EPG. EPG has come through, so the winner of this series will be facing up against Crad and the boys to have a spot for the finals. Later on today, we're also going to be having Spirit versus Forza and Furia versus Sinners, 2 series I'm particularly excited for. Sinners, always a fun team to watch. Oscar's in there, and who doesn't love a little bit of Oscar? Back to this series, though, because we've still got to talk a little bit about the veto as we head into that one. Michael, permabans should be pretty straightforward. Nuke to be taken away by a fnatic and overpass from the side of EXTREMUM. What are you thinking about the rest of it?
Yeah, I mean, they get trapped into a Vertigo pick where, I mean, that's already a solid option for EXTREMUM. It's a solid map for them. But moving into the next couple maps, Train and Inferno, I'm really not too confident. And I think that's really where I'd like to say I'm on the opinion of sort of the vast majority, where Fnatic have just been a little bit too shaky on most of the maps that they've been exploring in the map pool to have really too much invested in them at the moment, which I think is a bit of a concern, because they're a team that have always sort of been teetering on that edge, then skyrocket into tier 1, and then they'll have a bit of a dry period. It seems like we're kind of hitting them in a bit of a dry period at the minute.
Yeah, and let's not forget that, you know, the Fnatic players probably haven't had enough sleep as well. They were up really late last night, crying about the fact that Train got removed from the map pool, which is their only 50% and above map win rate. So I'm sorry, guys. Ancient's in now, just like you, but at least there's this cup to kind of move past. Maybe this is where they can sort of had a nice little hurrah, nice little one last fling with Train. And that's something that I'm sure they're upset about, because if you look at their map pool across the rest of the board, Michael, I know you've kind of said it, but I'll bring in some numbers if I can. Overpass, sure. 0% win rate in 4 maps. Inferno, 33% win rate in 4 maps. Mirage, 33% win rate in 3 maps. Dust 2, 0% win rate in 3 maps. There's a lot of sub 50s over there, if I do say so myself. You can't feel too happy if you're a Fnatic. And I look at this video and I have to say, mate, I don't see EXTREMUM losing this. EXTREMUM just even if they've been playing slightly worse opposition, the disparity is just too great. I feel like this is at best going to be a 2-1 for Fnatic, but more likely than not, just be a 2-0.
Yeah, the big thing is that they're going to be coming in a little bit colder into the event, right? Especially with EXTREMUM not receiving as many sort of opportunities at first, and having to grind things out within individual tournaments and individual cups. They're having to, by virtue, play a lot more CS, which only works to your advantage when you're trying to find something that works for you. And sort of the implementation of Fnatic and Jaquinho in particular is going to be a big test, because having less officials means you have less of a time to find that and work through that adaptation period. You can play scrims, sure, that's all fine and dandy, but scrims and game time are completely different beasts.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where, you know, maybe some of the criticism that recently has come out against just affiliated teams, put it that way, just getting invites wherever they go. And Fnatic's definitely one of the main, perhaps, culprits of that, where they have been able to maintain a rating despite maybe not quite necessarily being representative of it. If you look at their rank currently globally on the HLTV rankings, they're still sitting in the top 30. Most other teams in the top 30 have had better looking form for a while now, and you know, this is where you start to wonder, is this finally where the slip up is coming through? And I'm sure Fnatic also realizes the gravity of the situation for playing in the Spring Sweet Spring. This isn't just an online cup for them. This has got to be one that they're coming out and winning. You look at the rest of the field, it's definitely possible for them to take it, but we first got to go into Vertigo, see whether or not they can actually put up a show on a map that they don't play very much.
Yeah, this is where we're going to get a good look at how they've come so far, or whether they've made any sort of significant strides as of late. And hey, you know, we're always welcome to that opportunity. Love me a bit of Brolan. Think he's a fantastic, aggressive player, and I think he's going to need to bring that to the forefront very early as well, because I think, I mean, we talked about it, very likely to be a 2-0. We'll see how this pistol goes, though.
Well, it started off with Rank finding one, as and Lias will follow up nicely. They're generally very strong with these B-side pushes on the pistol. It's something that's been there since their time at, you know, 100 Thieves as well. But now Jaquinho and Crims will try to respond. Jaquinho to fall, nothing to find. And Crims with the very colorful pistols, well, will get one at the very least. Looking maybe for a little bit more. Some more money in the tank would be quite nice. Retaking a bit of a hard ask, although Crims has been known to deliver. And it might be time to save dualies. Really helping out where they can, but there's so many angles to clear when you're going in onto the B-bomb site. Now that he realizes where Liaz is just buying time. Krim swings out wide, trying to move into the side, and Liaz will shut him down. EXTREMUM start things off relatively cleanly.
Yeah, it's also making them sweat a little bit, but getting those entries, finding that the deep as well control, and then just moving into hunt. Certainly a chance, but keep it all under wraps.
Ooh. If I'm not wrong, are both teams boot camping in Serbia? I'm sure that our producer will let us know very soon, but I believe they might be because they're both... Okay, so I think I saw some similar logos, but yeah, so EXTREMUM are over at the Relog boot camp facilities, but yeah. Fun little additional detail to keep in mind.
Yeah, look nice. Real nice.
Yeah, they do. I've always wanted to just go to a boot camp, even if I'm not a part of a team and I suck. I just wanted to go. I could just
want to
have
be
the
a part
feel,
of this
you know?
thing.
Yeah,
It'll be a part of the journey.
Well, the journey of trying to come back has to start with a force by victory for fnatic.
Oh, okay. Wasn't sure that he was going to be able to get that kill, but Berlan tapping away with the FAMAS does bear some fruit. Of course, this is a force buy after the lost round, so the fact that he's even been able to get his hands on the FAMAS may have been a bit of a surprise. I set their sights over towards B, slowly creeping. See if they can get that same success as they did in the pistol. Of course, no aggressive play here from fnatic, only Golden on the site.
Maybe you can find something with that nice little print stream. Brolin, though, is the player to come through with the second one. Flashbang goes overhead. A smoke to keep them at bay will be completely ineffective.
Oh,
through
dear.
it, but Golden and JW just clean it all up. It's the second round for fnatic. And Michael Brolin was given that FAMAS by Crims, actually. They recognize that younger hands might bear some more fruit, and that's what they do.
Adding all the more to the surprise, I'm sure. Not only that, though, it immediately reaps rewards, right? Getting those two kills over at A, while... And because of that pressure that he applies, the fact that he gets those kills, they speed things up over at B to no avail. You know, they don't get the entries as quick as they would have liked.
Now, Jaquinho, well, that's a quick one to find as well. Gratis Fashion taken down early in.
A lot of control for Golden over at B. Holding it that deeper line. Of course, the smoke is down as well. Just making sure that nobody on EXTREMUM moves past. And they're at least investigating middle very early here on the side of EXTREMUM. If they can threaten this position as well, make the rotates even more difficult for fnatic. Seeming as though they may be able to rebound away from losing the pistol rather nicely. Another kill for JW, but Crims gets nothing.
Well, Brolin's still able to keep the pieces together. Grenade flies through as well. Should be some reasonable damage and a smoke to try and play around Jacob and Azza. Moving through. Jacob caught off Azza. Sure, we can trade, but that's not a very good trade at the end of things. Now tagged up down to 11. Not very much hope for him in this round. And it might be leading into a full Glock buy in the next as Golden has finished things off. And I was just about to comment on Golden's positioning. Like you said, he's been given a lot of space on the B-bomb side there, but that is definitely one of the big advantages you have as an in-game leader. If you are a B-side anchor or any side anchor, it's not something that's traditional. You generally see IGLs playing a bit more of a rotating role, but the fact that you can feel free to explore as much as you want really lets maybe you be a little bit less worried about the B-bomb side on a map like Inferno, where people don't really attack as much as well. So it's a nice adjustment from the norm, at the very least.
Appreciate the little combo play between Golden and the newbie, Jaquinho, farming away with the SMG. Not all too threatening. They know it's just Glocks, and easy as that. So, after losing the pistol, they've successfully recovered the 3 rounds in a row. Full gun round now in for EXTREMUM, where we can look at more stabilized approaches, whether they're going to play things out in a default or go for an execute. You know, I think this is part of the reason why people maybe have Vertigo down in the tier list of maps, is that so often it comes down to just default, spam through smokes, sit behind smokes, and it can be a bit stale in a lot of respects. See which brand of Counter-Strike we get right out of the gate. You can see Bentet already going very aggressive. That smoke is not going to provide any sanctuary or safety for Golden to get that info for free.
Oh, this nade's pretty big, but Jacob's done more. Now that second one, that's enough to even the score.
Dr. Seuss, that you?
Cat in a hat. There you go. I couldn't come up with even so, the B-bomb site seems to be where most of the attention from the CTs is, while the Ts have decided to take territory elsewhere. And this is strange, considering that you don't even need to save for fnatic if you do end up giving up that A-bomb site. Just the fact that rotations are so slow and so late, the bomb can be planted safely. There's no one here to really throw any Molotovs to deny it. They're trying to move inside the smoke. JW spraying through it. Gratisfaction still on top of the boxes, waiting for someone to peek into him. A risky position, but with fnatic having given this much of the map up, I mean, there's barely any risk involved. Smoke now comes out, but they're all playing from alley, so this is not going to be all that useful. Gratisfaction still playing on default, waiting to peek out, and as they will start to push forward, he's flashed up. JW gets one, but Liaz and Vintet clean up around him. Both the CT players face inwards to check default because of the presence, and because he's ducked down, they can't get the instant headshots. They get distracted long enough that Vintet and Liaz can just completely clean up.
And I liked the call there from fnatic as well to just stack over towards that B-bomb site. And I agree that it's a bit of a weird one to make in the fact that you do want at least some early sight lines, something to slow them down so that you can make those rotations a bit safer. But because they lost B steps control so early, and because Bentet had threatened that position, they went for that gamble, thinking that that would be working in the favor of EXTREMUM. Look at the pace though, changing in for fnatic. They get aggressive off the bat, and Azure will try his best to recover the situation, but only leads to things worsening here for EXTREMUM. It's only Liaz at the very start of this one.
Should be able to get at least one, if nothing else, but the if nothing else part is what's really scary, isn't it? Not much money on the terrorist side, loss bonus as well, quite poor, and as he peeks out, it's his shoulder to give himself away. Plenty of players kept alive from fnatic, and AKs picked up means that they've got themselves enough money for a few more buys, most likely. This should be a save round coming up from the terrorist side, and yeah, good old grid. Always there to remind us how many times the team is converting a first kill. Now, 4 of 4 is pretty solid for fnatic, and I have a feeling that it might be ending up at 5 of 5. The one thing that you should be slightly worried about, though, if you are a fnatic fan, is that, well, they've won 4 rounds so far. What happens when they're not getting that man advantage, you know?
A worry for the future, perhaps.
Indeed. The worry for now is Deagles, which is also quite scary in all fairness.
You can see how spread out they are as well on the map. Very isolated duel here for Crims, but he gets the one and he's out of there. Or not. He's kind of lingering. He wants a little bit more of the action, but they wouldn't have heard steps to him falling back. They're prepared for the repeak, and they do not punish. It's a lot of damage, but still no frag.
I mean, this is where you generally start to see the pitfalls of the CT side, but fnatic just aren't dying, so there is that to help out. JW continues to trend. It's very chic these days, Michael. Just don't die. Now, keeping an eye out, and they should be able to keep all 5 players alive. That's a big money round coming through for fnatic, and that's one of those rounds which really helps you secure the half even. It feels like these days in modern Counter-Strike, if you're able to get even a single round where you have all 5 players kept alive, where the T side haven't had a great loss bonus built up, you can really take control.
Well, so far in the starts of these rounds, Fnatic are getting not only the information and holding into these extremities over at A and B respectively, they've been winning a lot of the gunfights as well. JW seems to have slipped the net, and he's already threatening the ladder. Potential for a flank as well. Bit early to pull off something like this. Very hyper aware, especially with no presence towards middle here for EXTREMUM. Very likely to keep that one in the back of their minds, but B steps compromised. They've already boosted up, and Golden none the wiser for now.
And the flashbang's great. He's pushed back, but he doesn't move, and that leads to his death. Binted has been expecting an angle, and he's just going for more, but that's where Crims is ready to punish.
Flank.
It's going to be big if they can find it, but both players fumbling their rifles, and Jacob comes out on top. Now it's all about Crims and whether he can get this next shot. A peek inwards is unlikely, as Aza is now being watched from both sides. They know there's someone there, but they need that Molotov to come through, and as he peeks in, he's able to avoid Brolin's AUG, even gets more cover behind himself, so this ascent onto the bomb set to be even harder, but Lee has a whiff spray. Gratisfaction has to show up instead. Jacob and Grad still alive at the back of the sides. Grad peeking out to the track for a while. Jacob now left alone, fighting for the AUG, and Jaquinho will be trying to go for the defuse. Jacob inside the smoke gets a stray headshot. And that'll be the third round for EXTREMUM, despite what looked like a few key mistakes.
Yeah, and it seemed like they were just so hesitant to get on that bomb as well. Wanted to play that 2v1, and then it's just that first burst from Jacob as they threatened the defuse at the end, but where they had run out of those options. But that's part of the reason why I think earlier when we saw Fnatic go for that stack call, you know, they made one of the correct decisions, is that as soon as EXTREMUM got control of those B steps, they were already looking for those entries.
Brolin. You talk about looking for entries, Brolin is looking for bodies to quickly plug up with some AUG bullets. Will not be given any. No one pushed through their own smoke. And as the CT side smoke was dissipating, it's time to back off. Jaquinho can lead the charge from here instead. EXTREMUM is going to be a little bit more careful going onto this bomb site now that we've got this much CT side presence over A. Even Crims is within the vicinity to be able to run over, pop in a Molotov if need be. Jaquinho, though, flashes all coming in. Molly straight into a smoke. That's an interesting one, but Brolin, meanwhile, will back off. 50 seconds on the clock. Crims with a Molly equipped. This is so hard to scale up onto this bomb site. It's nearly impossible. Jaquinho close range goes in, gets one. Now there's a double spray from Brolin looking for more. The smoke will now dissipate. Binted finds a kill through it, but Crims is still there to recover. Now, only thing left is Binted. A Molotov will at least give him something to work with. A flashbang to keep them blind as well. But a smoke from the back lines, Golden assists JW, and JW will then keep him alive. The AWP will actually, even the AWPs recovered, man. They get everything in that round, all off the back of that 2K from the AUG.
Yeah, Fnatic are just being very constricting. You can see how far back EXTREMUM are playing as well, anticipating some of these higher aggressive plays over towards A, but they just stagnate for far too long, and then by the time they start scaling up, that's when Fnatic pull the trigger on their aggressive play as well. They fought for ramp control. They didn't want to make it easy on EXTREMUM. You could see how caught out they were by it. More details as well from Jaquinho in that round. You know, dodging out on some of those flashes. You know, missed the Molotov, but the overall timing and the reaction, certainly adequate for the situation. Now, I mean, EXTREMUM are kind of in a rough spot. Now, a save round where they haven't been able to get too much going in the rifle rounds. Sure, there's been sort of damage distributed across a couple of them, so it's not as if Fnatic's money is out of control, but they recognize immediately, as this is a save, they've gotten deeper control over that B main territory, and they're just willing to take these fights as well. So out in the open, sure, but if you're not finding the kills, then there's no real harm in doing this.
And if you're Extremum, you're being boxed in because this was the map that was a gimme. Fnatic has clearly been putting in a lot of work into Vertigo, though you can tell they're much better rehearsed than they have been in past showings. But dear God, this has always been one of the maps which the Aussie core has been really good on. Going back to their slumps in 100 Thieves, while the map was out, they were still one of the best in the world on it. So at this stage, having these many issues on the T sign, you're not quite at the level where you start to sweat, but you're getting very close to it. Maybe an 8-3 or a 9-3. That's where things will get tricky, and Jaquinho through the smoke finds one. There's a stray bullet and a life taken.
Yeah, I could hardly tell if there was a gap in that or not. That's where X-Ray almost works against us, because it's hard to see whether they've got the proper sight lines. They're creeping up A, though, and the Jaquinho up, it's just striking true ever more. Roland, they bypass him, but he turns at the right moment, so Jacob doesn't slip the net, and Bentet still looking for something to get going over at that B bomb site. The bomb's with him as well, so that entry is going to allow the plant.
Golden's been in that exact same position for too long, it seems like, because Bentet just beelines every single time off the back of a flashbang. This time, though, the round might not be theirs. Liaz alone versus 4 has so much to do, and as he peeks out, can't get the spray, had to get the instant shot. Now, waiting for the double peek, is going to intercept it, but only intercepts their bullets. Can't get the kills. And you can tell Extremum, even mechanically, they don't look that crisp right now. There's not that sort of heavy punishment. Okay, you're peeking into me. I've got the superior angle with an AK. Boom, there goes your head. Definitely some cracks that are widening more and more.
Yeah, they're going to start looking like fault lines in a minute, and I don't know that this building is structurally sound enough to support.
It clearly isn't, is it?
Well, it's just a little too thin, I think. If this is the entire structure of the building, end to end. It's a bit of a small one.
Roland flashes, avoided right now, gets the first shot, leaning backwards, but a Molotov in his hands will be his death. At least he gets in out, but even so, not going to be able to do much. Delaying for a little while longer. JW with the Molotov onto the default plant as well, and it's Extremum who are considering moving back, but instead they go forward. Asa waiting for a flash to come through, a Molotov at his feet, and he peeks out, but Crim still wins a duel despite going to a smoke. JW spotted Grant to take him down. Back to a 3 versus 3. Grenade goes out. Damage should have been good, but it's not onto the bomb. Instead, it's onto the alley side. And now the retake is on. They've got smokes. They've got a Molotov and Jaquinho as well. And flashes aplenty. But Extremum, they're in good post-spawn situations, especially Bentet, who's looking to peek out from behind the smoke. Back to default, he goes as well. He's got some support, but it's cracked to fall, and Golden to follow up. Jacob fighting away, position known. Jaquinho to shut things down, and what a round from Fnatic to retake this bomb site. Crim's walking through that smoke to get the kill onto Azar was crucial.
On top of that as well, Golden with the presence of mind that there's one likely to play around that smoke. I thought for sure Bentet was going to catch them off guard, but just able to deal with that player that's up close and supposed to be the sort of ace in the hole to try and secure the round there for Extremum. It goes astray. And Fnatic, I mean, they came out, Extremum took the pistol, and they have looked really good ever since they've gotten their hands onto these rifles. Extremum, like you said, they don't seem as sort of crisp and concise. You can see how quickly they're trying to progress, but again, it's Broland at the sandbags. They're really trying to punish Golden over at this B-bomb site, and they find him again.
Roller. Bentet taking outward. JW only good for one, and Jaquinho will at least rectify. Even so, Extremum, man, they just falling apart. You're looking at a 10-3 scoreline unless Gratisfaction's able to double up his skills. He's 3-12 right now. Having a bad game is an understatement. One smoke, sure. Has the bomb too. But can he actually get this done? Great first shot.
Yeah, smoke deployed as well, so they know where he is. They know to give him time. I'll let this get planted. Again, they've hold on to so much late round utility, so they've got a couple mollies, a smoke as well. Greg goes for a more conventional post plant. He could get segmented off by the util.
And as they start to creep in, Jaquinho, what a shot, close range in, just scopes forward. Grat's shoulder is barely visible, and Jaquinho adjusts. He's 13-4 right now, and he's a player who a lot of people had doubts about when he was coming into Fnatic initially. You know, a lot of people are saying, who the hell is this guy? We've never heard of him. If I'm not wrong, and I might be misquoting, so take it with a pinch of salt. Even Get Right said, yeah, I'm not too sure about Swedish talent right now. I don't really know exactly who he is. And now he's one of the main players who's propelling them through this match, and slowly coming into his own, as these younger opping players especially are likely to do. I'm liking the new look of Fnatic right now. Oh, okay. Maybe not that one as much. That's a run boost coming in from Gratisfaction that wasn't expected.
And they've been finding so many entries towards B, but Jaquinho's rotated in with that AWP. He's here quick, and so is JW. They're so close to them. They have absolutely no idea. Jaquinho striking first. JW still not spotted out. Spammed a little bit, and then JW gets taken down as well. That gap in the smoke, JW waited so long and found nothing from it. 2-on-2, the site compromised, and Crims is sandwiched between two players.
It's all down to Liaz's 2K and the fact that Jacob can come in from this side. Brolin, the only player left alive. Molotov, grenade, all raiding through, all trying to snuff out the life of poor little Liaz. I say poor little, but he's been mighty deadly so far. Brolin, though, in pursuit. Another molly picked up. He can use it to force out the player behind concrete. Liaz goes down. The spray transfer from Brolin. Ungodly. 11th round secured for Fnatic. They sweat, they fumble, they make mistakes, but Brolin is there to rectify all situations. 18 kills in each, impressive in its own, but this one, what a clutch from him.
God, that is clean from Brolin.
He's always been the king of the scope weapon, man.
He doesn't even need the scope, though.
True.
That's ridiculous. Though, I mean, spray transfer, fine, but to hit it so easily. First or second bullet on the swap, that's tough. And EXTREMUM have been in a bit of a rut. This B bomb site has been a bit of a liability, it feels like, for Fnatic. And yet still, EXTREMUM haven't been able to push it for more than just the 3 they've got so far. They have been abusing Golden. You see, Jaquinho has been staying here a bit more permanently as a result, and they're still finding picks over at A the meanwhile.
Well, Jaquinho is going to be abused as well, but Golden's here to pick up the pace. Keeps the advantage for the CT side. Fnatic, once again, seeming to the retake, but like you said before, where's the bomb headed to? Gratisfaction bringing it back towards that B bomb site might be a mistake. 50 seconds on the clock. Leah's still defending it as best as he can. Flashbang goes overhead. There is still a Molotov available for JW. Will be going out, but he's able to dodge the bullets. What's going on with Liaz? He's just not getting the kills. 2 opportunities seemingly given up, and he is punished for that, as he surely should be. Gratisfaction alone, spotted out, drops down, flashbang overhead to try and re-peek in with it, but they've crossed over and Jaquinho's AWP is picked up. JW, always competent with it, will shut him down and find 12 for Fnatic. What a dominant half on EXTREMUM's map pick.
Yeah, teammates for Fnatic, they all contribute in that round, and I think that's kind of just been the story so far this half, is that it hasn't been about going towards, I mean, that B bomb site, sure, they're finding entries, but each and every time on rotations, whether it's post plants as well, we saw a great Brolan 1v2, but by and large, it has been just playing together on these retakes and being able to find these isolated duels. I think a lot of that as well comes down to the fact that a lot of the late round utility was still there for Fnatic, because they're not being coaxed into this position where they need to throw all the mollies and the smokes at the start of the rounds.
Maybe with a clean slate, there's something EXTREMUM can get done. Maybe. Gotta wait, though, for now. Oh, what a
what?
double fadeaway, Azza! That did not look legal at all. Now Jacob, playing from Ali, trying to defend away from Jaquinho. Jaquinho's had the best of him so far. No different in the second half. They've just come back from that. How do you recover so quickly? Binted and Liaz, the only players left. There's a kit near the site, but they need to get onto the site first, which is going to be a tough task on its own. Krim still with a flashbang left in his pocket. Should they want to retake this, they have to get past that one flash, and that'll be so difficult because they're both facing similar angles. Kid's still not
dropped
picked up.
inside
It's
of the boxes.
underneath the boxes. It's glitched out. No more time left. Binted has to go now. They fake it out. They get a kill, but Crims is still alive. They're going for the defuse. Kid underneath boxes can't be recovered. It's Valve who's come out against them, and Crims, he's coming through, but the bodies, it's blocking his head. That's insane. EXTREMUM just looks like the worst possible luck they could have.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
after
goodness.
that, they're able to. Oh, dude, that's also just the way they stopped the bullets from Crims is also really interesting to note. The player didn't just sit in front of him. He still made it so there's 2 targets to hit, so you can't just spam one person down. He instead just stood in front of the head. That's so interesting. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, just his thighs separating him from an easy headshot.
And that's why you don't skip leg day, boys.
Such a weird round as well. Circumstances against EXTREMUM, but some really sharp headshots throughout. Could be enough of a springboard.
Important frag for Liaz. He's had a few shaky moments. Would be good to get his confidence back up and rolling, and there's nothing to bump up your confidence like anti-eco rounds. And again, if you get deeged in the head, it never feels too good.
Yeah, not great.
That experience, however, seems to be reserved for Binted, and Binted alone. No one else really falling from the side of EXTREMUM, and Binted's fine. He's a good lad. He knows he's going to be okay regardless. Moving to the second half, let's not forget, CT side of Vertigo can be very hard to get past for an inexperienced T-side team. You know, there's so much you can do. There's so many points where you can get aggressive. It seems like most of the tactics in Vertigo do lie more on the CT side rather than T, so...
Oh my goodness, yeah. I didn't realize
That's
it was
insane.
quite like that, but...
In all fairness, you're also 12-3 right now.
Yeah,
so,
it does make sense.
It helps.
Oh, satisfaction. Thinking about the peak. Just giving a bit of shoulder. Teasing fnatic over at A. Smoke will deny any more additional peaks. You can see that they're kind of postured up similarly to how fnatic were. Not maybe going for as aggressive a stance. That came with later rounds on fnatic's CT side.
Oh. Jaquinho peeking outwards, and it's Azza to shut him down again. Azza's been really good on that angle. They've had a hard time getting past him. Now Crim's trying to use a smoke to his advantage, but the one-way smoke's only really going to do so much. Binted says, I've got one of my own as well, and he will be using it slightly more effectively. Golden tagged up down to 12. Crims will be peeking out, trying to move past, but just can't get it done. Flash is all avoided, but Crims will find a kill through that smoke. Now, the return is there, and it's always good. Brolin has to try and save the day. Golden defending the bomb while it's being planted. They're not moving in to try and punish. Brolin now trying to move past, waiting for the player to come through connector, but instead prioritizes a double peak angle where he can get a spray down onto 2. Almost does it as well. Now, Golden, 12 HP, cannot make a mistake. There's so many mistakes to be made. Smoke's all around him. He is surrounded. Can they get past him? There is no HP on the diffuser. And Azer's dead. He's moved past. He's behind cover. But can he come through for another? They still no HP. Jacob is saved. Liaz, if he misses that shot, he's gone.
Oh my goodness, how close is that? You can see Golden was lining up for it once again. You're right, if Liaz didn't hit that shot, likely the round kind of falls away from there. And I actually thought we were maybe going to see Golden back away from that one. Because he'd been smoked off from both sides, but he was taking his time and lining that bad boy up. So close. And EXTREMUM are keeping hold of this run back here on the CT side. Grant has only been the first 3, but you can see that the confidence is growing here for EXTREMUM. Very, very liberal peak.
What in the world was that? Like, what kind of a demon's got to possess you to be like, I know where that Molotov is from. Whooshoom, let's speak into potentially 4 people in an anti-force fire round. Well, and a half-life, but yeah. Bintet can't really follow up with too much more, but he has his head to make sure that people are delayed for a while longer. Bomb cannot be planted. JW has moved past, back to the generator. And as they wait, JW has suddenly realized I actually can't go back to the bomb site. So I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here, but I've got 18 HP and a zebra in my hands.
Hey, just kind of a confused look on his face.
Yeah.
Because he's getting shot in the back as well. As soon as his teammate drops, they just swarm on in. He gets nothing from it. A nice little 4-round streak here.
It's good for EXTREMUM to be getting back onto things, and you know, it's not just the fact that it's a 4-round streak. It's also the fact that you don't have. Pardon me, just I had a fly buzzing around in my face, but yeah, you know, it's also the fact that they haven't had a single T-side round on a map that they're not very experienced on. Even if they've been putting in the work and if they've been going like the extra mile to really prep it in scrims and whatnot, if you're having such a good game on CT side and you switch to T side and there's just nothing going your way, you do start to get into the mindset of, oh, well, you know, maybe it's just because we're bad at this map, man. I knew we shouldn't have picked this. I knew we shouldn't have let them have it. Oh, no, but that's not our, you know, all of these million things going on in your head where your mental can be disturbed very easily. Jacob, though, right now, he's hoping to disturb their mental with a couple of bullets. It's the old-fashioned way to mess with someone's head. You shoot it off.
Well, nade does a lot of damage. Follow-up, a little less so. Bombardment down towards A ramp, but Brolan still alive and kicking. Molotov will force Azure back, and Jacob will actually force the fight forward. So it's actually a couple kills that come in for fnatic. EXTREMUM seemingly pushed into that decision. Now working out of a man deficit, and you can see that they're leaning over back towards that A-bomb site. Bentek trying to feign that there may be 2 players over, a supportive flash, but nobody peeking alongside it.
I think they might have figured this out on fnatic as well. Bentet too is realizing it might be time they boogie back to B. 55 seconds. Utility raining down. Bentet playing from the generator, trying to still fake out his position on default, but they must have heard the multiple bounces. Now,
how much they're hesitating here on fnatic. They throw so much util, they slow it down.
They might be trying to fake back to make it a fake of, hey, we might be going back to A, haha, you don't know us. But at the same time, EXTREMUM's been really good at getting information.
They're rotating back.
But it's just not enough info for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
fnatic, their master plan has worked out. And EXTREMUM, they're not even saving, they're going for this now. They're in position and you have to retake. They don't really have much of a choice, and Crims will eliminate any opposition. Grat the only player to stay alive, and sure, you can save an op. You'll have a buy in the next round if you do, but fnatic just completely out-mind game EXTREMUM in that situation. This is where, look, this is exactly where, if you win that round from EXTREMUM, after fnatic's pulled out all the stops, after they've got the entries, after they've tried to go for the mind games, that's one of those nail in the coffins. But
yeah,
this is just fnatic feeling good about it.
Yeah, it would have really solidified this comeback path for EXTREMUM if they had won and kind of endured that long duration where fnatic were on the hold. Because like you're saying, weighing on the mental, it could just be, why did we hesitate so much? You know, we could have just taken the bomb site. Yeah. By the self-reflection things. And no, the patience pays off. Not only do EXTREMUM rotate players initially over to B, but it was just such a long time afterwards that they thought, they're not really still there, are they? Only for them to, in fact, be still there.
Still be there. The op from Gratisfaction hasn't seen as much action. We have to say that, though. Drakenio on the CT side was definitely getting a little bit more involved. Jacob, though, He wants to be involved as well. He's getting aggressive, and that's where Brolin and Jaquinho will meet them, arms wide open. EXTREMUM now once again split up completely across the map. Bintet's waiting for a peek to come through. He's been very good at adjusting his positions around this B-bomb site. You know, stark contrast to how static Golden seemed to be at times, but success has been varied regardless.
They're trying to grind down the clock once again. Another 4-on-3, and once again there is support coming Bintet's way.
This time they should have a slightly better read on things with the utility being deployed, unless fnatic decide to actually go back to A. Bintet waits 40 seconds. It's time to execute. Pull the trigger. Bintet's doing just that. Gets one, looks for two, but it's Golden who uses the flash to his advantage but drops the bomb soon after. So the lurking presence needs to come in faster. JW, though, cut off on the flank by Grat. Roland now leading in, but it's Liaz to shut him down. 13th round was found for fnatic, sure, but EXTREMUM don't let that stop them. They get to 8 immediately afterwards. They're much more definitive in their positioning, and despite losing out members early on, it's just not enough. That flank needed to be faster.
Yeah, and it comes off the back as well, the fact that Liaz is there to support Bintet, and so he draws all the eyes over his direction. They're not expecting that a second player will be there, and similar things were happening on EXTREMUM's T side, where they started to get Jaquinho leaning over towards B, so it opened up the opportunity for Golden to get more involved. Similar solutions that are being found here from that CT side, and because this is a bit more of a worried map within the fnatic map pool, you know, you expect them to be a little bit worse in a lot of respects on the T side.
Is that smoke legal?
It's certainly cute.
It's cute, but we'll talk about that in a bit because Bintet's got a bit of a cutie little spray as well. Quick double for him. Why not? Golden, meanwhile, will surely respond with one, but he's not really got much else to deliver. Golden, do you now? Just quickly shooting down Grant, who, like I said, hasn't been having the best of games. Even an adjustment looked possible over there. JW, good damage, but can't quite finish up. Now with the bomb in his presence, he will be able to plant, even planting slightly in the open, to try and prevent any sort of nade damage, Molotov damage, giving himself the best chance he possibly can. And the flank will be big, but he reloads. He gives away his position, and he will fall. Bintet comes through in the end. JW, a small mistake, which might have just cost them the round, but even so, in the 2 versus 4, 2v5, I believe, planning as much as they did, not terrible.
Yeah, pulling it back from a 2-on-5 where it was doable, but just a small misstep. Yeah, good stuff as well from Bintet. You know, you talked about in the previous round, just constantly changing up his positions and his reactions to some of the utility that's being thrown his way. I don't see that smoke would be any real issue. See a lot of cheesy one-ways.
Not the one-way, but isn't it on a non-existent texture?
No, there is a.
Oh, okay.
It's on some sloped materials. Okay. Yeah.
Fair enough. I just thought it's one of those weird illegal textures. fnatic
those are
do
way
be
too
known for
inconsistent.
those.
Historically,
of course, Olaf not really around as much anymore. Gratisfaction, though, quickly brought down by Brolin, who just peeks right into him. Grim's hoping to catch a timing, but it's JW to catch Liaz over in mid. Full mid control has been established by fnatic quite a few times over. The EXTREMUM have been content with giving it up, but right now Bintet turns around. That misses the timing. Crims has moved past it, not expecting this, and Bintet catches a player with a Molotov in his hands, but Golden's there to rectify his teammate's mistake. Jacob now left alone. A 1-on-5, and fnatic seem to have done it. The 14th round secured, and CT money, it's not very good. So if Jacob is found, it's a worrying sign for the future.
Oh god, and he's likely to go down as well. Yeah, just
The
spotted
mechanics,
out.
man.
Just a little rough. More than, perhaps.
Across the board for Extremum, pretty much, other than Bintet and occasionally Answer.
Yeah, there's just been a few discrepancies, right? Where this looks like a surefire kill, and it's